chapter 39, the 10th letter, Yod. He produced Yod, predominant in work, crowned it, combined and formed with it Virgo in the universe, Elul or September in the year, and the left hand of man. Sefer Yetzirah 24. While Yod is one of the 12 simple letters, it is one of the most important corresponding to the English letters I and Y. Its meaning is the origin of all things, for by and from Yod were all the other letters created. Its hieroglyph is the ringer of man, pointing upward, the sign of aspiration and also of command. Yod represents humanity in its entirety, the two expressions, male and female, in the one. It expresses all the potencies of the Father, but now fully expressed in number 10. In Masonic traditions, Yod is seen as the divine spark, symbolizing the omnipresence of the great architect of the universe. All the numbers have now evolved, hence, the one has taken its stand at the right hand of the O, embodying the deep-rooted symbolism in Freemasonry. Yod, representing the active principle of all life manifestations, symbolically stands for the reincarnating ego. Just as the 10 recurs again and again in its multiples, each 10 symbolizing a cycle of evolution and experience, so does the ego add experience to experience throughout the cycles of evolution on its journey of unfoldment, its great cycle of necessity. And just as each time a 10 is reached, its value is raised by the power of its new digit, while its greater cycles are indicated by the addition of ciphers. So does the ego pass through its minor incarnations, each dominated by a special phase of development comparable to an added digit. Then at certain cyclic periods it reaches decisive or major incarnations in which, like the 10, it takes upon itself a continuation of its great and original mission in manifestation. This is a new and higher cycle during which it unfolds or adds greater and higher aspects of manifestation to its experience, just as the number 1 adds more ciphers. Each such new cipher means that the soul has entered upon a new and as yet unmanifested experience, a higher phase of the old experiences which it has passed and successfully expressed. Just as a boy passes and successfully manifests all that childhood holds of experience for him, then enters upon the experiences of manhood and so on. So, in a far greater degree, does the real self add cipher to cipher throughout all eternity. And like the one, the ego expresses these powers in its life and manifestation so that no one can mistake an advanced ego for a primitive one, any more than he could mistake 100 for a 10. Just as the individual passes through minor and major incarnations or cycles, so humanity as a whole passes through minor cycles of unfoldment corresponding to the digits, and then has its decisive or major cycles in which a perfect manifestation of the divine man or 10 is expressed in the world in the person of an avatar. While the periodic falling away from previous religious teachings and principles among sub-races and nations may seem like a lapse and a return to the barbaric and selfish principle that might is right, still such periods of war and barbarism are but the burning up of the chaff of the old cycle, or the indrawing of the digits into the O. Every avatar is the embodiment and expression of and brings to the world a new cycle or a new O of unmanifested truth which the nations of the ensuing cycle must unfold and manifest to the best of their ability. Thus, while all avatars are perfect and complete, as number 10 is perfect and complete, still each comes with an added cipher. This is why no nation, society, or individual can really progress while they cling to precedent and the traditions of the past. Each new age is a new O, which can be developed only through the light of the Christ dot in that O, which manifests through the inspired teachings of that age, couched in the terms of its race thought and including its most advanced discoveries. In the individual life, each new step is such an O whose guiding light is intuition. Many critics look upon the Christian religion as a failure because most of the so-called Christian nations are now not exemplifying its principles in their dealings with each other. Yet it has been and is lived out and manifested today by millions of its followers who are the golden grain or the harvest of its cycle. But since the burning of the chaff makes a dense black smoke, a superficial observer is apt to overlook the fact that the harvest of that cycle has been gathered, and may think that the field itself is being destroyed and that no future crops can be raised. Yet in truth the burning is but a preparation for the new cycle. In the Kabbalah, the sacred word Yod-Heh-Vav-He represents Jehovah, also God and man, the higher self and the personal self united by the bridge and bringing forth the next creation or the second He. Yod represents the higher self, He or number 5 represents the human personality, and Vav number 6, the link that unites the two. This sacred word therefore expresses all that we have said about number 10. Being an expression of cyclic law, it embodies the recognition of the divinity of man through the union of the personality with the divine higher self, the one life flowing unimpeded through both and making man a true representative of the sevenfold Elohim, for the likeness has now evolved into the image. The 10th Sephira unfolds naturally from the 9th, and thus completes the cycle of the mystic rose, as well as the decad of the numbers. It is called in the Kabbalah Malkuth, the kingdom, also the queen, Matrona, or the inferior mother, the bride, also Shekinah, and is represented by the divine name Adonai, and among the angelic hosts by the name Cherubim.